I want to talk about the concept that we have three brains. A brain, by definition, is a place where a variety of neuroreceptors and stuff all come together and process data to cause a response, usually a motor response or an emotional response. And in the human, we have three of them. The head, obviously, because you get your head around every problem you've got, but then again, you put your heart and soul into things and you trust your gut instinct. Interesting language, but where does that all come from? Well, the head brain is relatively easy. That's where we do all the creativity stuff. 80 billion independent neurons causing the release of hormones and neurotransmitters from various glands and organs around the body that go hurtling around within the blood and the lymph and everything and the nervous system. And it's where we do that creativity, whether it's problem solving, speech, thinking, visualizing, imagining. And it's what drives our behaviors, as well as all the cognitive stuff that we do at the front of the brain. So the head brain is all about creativity, but what about those other two? The heart brain, think about the language we use. We talk of putting our heart and soul into things. It's all about the emotional side of things. There are actually 40,000 independent neurons. In other words, they're not connected to the central nervous system. Releasing oxytocin. Oxytocin is the cuddle hormone. It's the one that's all about social bonding and trust. The neat thing is we could replace about 120,000 of these neurons in our heart in a lifetime. And if you think about it, cells don't live forever, so it's kind of handy to be able to replace a few. What is really interesting is whilst they're not connected to the central nervous system, the heart is connected to the vagus nerve, which is a weird network of nerve connections that goes right back up into the head brain. And that's where the head brain then puts together the stuff from the gut, the stuff from the head, and the stuff from the heart to improve our intuition and our initial responses, if you like, our unconscious responses. Excuse me. If we then move down to the gut, this is my favorite, because I should explain, I used to be a physiologist, I used to do a bit of human biology. This was the nicest picture of the human intestine I could find, but I want you to remember it because it's quite an important one. 100 million independent neurons that can all release serotonin, cortisol, and dopamine into the bloodstream. Now, everyone thinks, oh, dopamine, that's the happy drug. Actually, it's not. It's the reward drug. Serotonin is the happy drug, the one that gives you confidence and status. And of course, cortisol is the one hormone that can actually really screw you up. You need it to wake up, but if you get too much of it, you're on it all the time. It's a stress hormone. It's a stress creator. And the trick is to find ways of balancing the amount of cortisol in your blood to wake you up with the amount of a thing called DHEA that actually enables you to manage serotonin, dopamine, testosterone, and all the good hormones and stuff that keep you balanced and going and moving. But the gut is all about instinct. Come on, we use the phrase, what's your gut instinct here? How does your gut, what do you feel about that? But it is also connected to the head brain through the vagus nerve. So if you've got these three brains, how do you make use of them? Well, the biggest problem you've got is the head brain is the one that shouts loudest. There's an argument as to which part of the anatomy is in charge, and there's an old joke, which I'm not going to repeat in mixed company, about which part is in charge and who is the boss. However, if you want to consult your heart and your gut, make a bit of time. Find a quiet space. there's actually a really neat, if anybody does mindfulness and meditation, there are some meditations that when you get towards the end of them, they take you to feel your heart beating, and they do work. If you can get that feeling of your heart, imagine it with the nerves attached to it. How does it feel? How does the problem, how does the question feel? Where does it stand ethically for you? How does it fit with your values and your needs? What's your gut feel about things? Remember that beautiful photograph of a gut. Well, do you need time to digest the information? When you've got those two inputs from the quieter space, then you can start, well, does it make sense? Get the cognitive processes working to help you decide, what does the idea look like in reality? How am I going to realize it? How do I do all the logistical and logical things to carry that through to the end? And then the question, well, how do I do all of those things, Gordon? Well, you have to wake up. Oh, even Tony woke up. If you really want to wake up, I talked about serotonin in the gut. You have to give it a good twist. And there are some simple exercises that I'm not going to ask everyone to do now, but if you want to, there's a thing called the serotonin twist. And if you stand up on the tube train and just swing your arms around, knock everybody flying, that's a serotonin twist. Just moves the gut. Serotonin is released when you move. If you can visualize your heart, just massage the heart. You know where it is, just behind the sternum. Give it a massage. It will release the oxytocin. How does that help you to connect with your values? It also, interestingly, enables the solar plexus to release. So the solar plexus is where an awful lot of neuro messengers go through the spinal system. Really, really important. And the really daft one, if you want to wake your brain up, you have to knock it from the outside. And just sort of doing that for a bit, 2 or 3 minutes. Head roll to open up the spinal column and breathing diaphragmatically from the belly. We all know that's the right place to breathe from. Slow, long breaths, and you'll be able to get yourself to the point where you can make decisions where you've consulted all three of your brains. So you know how your gut feels. You know what your gut reaction is. Apparently, in Japan, in business meetings where there's big decisions, they have a period where they will hold silence while people consider their gut reaction to the proposal. Now, I've not been in a meeting in Japan, but I am told that's the case. But it makes sense. So, if you want to wake up and start thinking about how you could use your body better and use your physical intelligence to help inform your decision making, why not give me a call? And if you're really good, to answer Tony's question, I would give you a good listening to, because that's just about actually exactly what it says on the tin. Enjoy it, encouraging you to consult your own brains, to think about what it is you're doing and how you want to go about moving forward. And that's about it. Tony, I think that's about 9 minutes. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to take them. I shall stop sharing my screen so I can see everybody. How do I stop sharing my screen?
At the top.
That's what I thought. Can't see it. I'll leave it where it is. Oh, there. Thank you very much. I suspect that was Joe. Questions? Annie's got a hand up and so's Jody. Jody, I think you were first.
Okay, it's not really a question, but I really think that you need to show us how to do that serotonin thing.
Oh, well, look, you just stand up and you just do that. But you take it right the way around and you look over your shoulder so that it actually twists the gut. And yes, I have done some of this. I did go to a reunion with some friends from Hoskins a few weeks ago, and I had them doing some physical intelligence exercise in the pub. We were about 4 or 5 pints in by that stage, but it still works. Annie.
When somebody is possibly moving towards a spectrum and they lack empathy, is there any way of what you do that can actually help them to reconnect with that?
The short answer, Annie, is I don't have an answer to that. Not off the cuff. I'd love to explore it, and maybe we can have a conversation separately. But yeah, because I get your gift. Certainly, some of the physical intelligence stuff I've been doing the last 6 months does relate to helping people work better with other people. So possibly there is.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people get labelled, but it may not actually be actually a clinical condition.
Yeah, I think you might be right. That's true.